3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, October 3rd, 2018. I hope you're doing well. Litecoin. What are you doing? What are you doing? Crash if you're going to crash. Moon if you're going to moon. Do something. Patience, patience, patience. If you're anything like me, patience is sometimes hard to come by, especially when you're just watching the screen and you're waiting. I mean, we started this YouTube channel at the beginning of this bear market. I'm about ready for a bull market. I'm ready to have some fun with these technical analysis videos. But patience, right? Waiting. And that word waiting plays heavily into technical analysis. That's partly what I want to talk about in this video. And I want to tie it all together in actually seeing what Litecoin is doing right now in a technical analysis video. And so let's jump right in and talk about this. I have some steps on the screen. Really, these are my basic steps. There's obviously way more to it when I'm doing these videos. You can tell with things that I talk about, but these are like the foundational steps. Let's real quick read through them. And then I'm gonna, in today's video, talk about each step basically. So step one is to find signals. It really doesn't get any more simple than that. Find signals, look out for signals. Step two is watch for support and resistance. And along with that, you can pair it up with things like momentum oscillators and things like volume. So that's step two, is really looking for support and resistance. Step three is you wait and you watch for patterns to form. So once we see like, all right, we got some support like right here, we got a bounce right here, right? Then we start looking for, well, what's it doing? Where are we seeing more resistance and support, and where are we going to eventually see a pattern? So something like a falling wedge would be, it would be a lower high, lower low. So basically two highs, two lows, and you have a wedge form. So waiting for that to happen, waiting for a pattern to form. Step four plays in pretty much into step one, which is you wait and you watch for the pattern to break on the downside or upside. Because when the pattern breaks, you basically have a signal that just happened. So for me, we can talk about this in real time, basically. So right now, I have the Litecoin daily chart open, and you can see, I mean, the series of the last however many months since May is just a bunch of patterns forming. It literally is step one through step four forming over and over again, right? And we have these breaks below the wedge. That's the signal. And then from there, we're looking, well, where's support going to be? Where's support? Where we're going to get a bounce, and then we get a bounce. And then we're waiting for the pattern to form, and here's a pattern forming. And then we're waiting to see it break on the up or the downside, and there it is breaking on the downside. Now for Litecoin, this has happened on the downside over and over again. You can just see it. Downside break, downside break, downside break, downside break, downside break. And now here we are again telling a very similar story in this current wedge that we're in with a downside break. So there we are, step one. That's kind of throwing up the flags, right? It's that signal. We got a break on the downside. So how do I approach that from there? Simple. I mean, for me, it's just, all right, what's your risk tolerance in a situation like this? We're seeing some weakness, obviously, in Litecoin. Everybody the other day was very bullish when we broke the 50 EMA and thinking we're finally forming a bottom. And, obviously, I've had more of a short-term, if you want to call it bearish outlook. And I was kind of thinking we're going to come back down, at least revisit the bottom of the wedge. Now we broke it. So for me and for you, all we do with a signal like that is we evaluate our positions and we evaluate our portfolio, and we might have to update our risk tolerance, right? Because right now, since we got to break to the bottom, through the bottom of this wedge for Litecoin, that could kind of tell us something. It could tell us we might have, further to go in this downside. So get your stuff in order. It's a signal, it's a flag. Step two is from here, which is where we are now, we watch for support and resistance. So, and we pair it with things like the momentum oscillators, right? So right now you can see our momentum oscillators, like the stock RSI here, the RSI here, are, we're not, like on the daily chart, we're not in that oversold area, first of all. So we have some ways to go. And right now you can see the momentum is pointing down. So to me, that tells me even more to be very aware of your risk tolerance, be very aware of your current position, because we could be going down further. So if you want to have fiat available for a situation like that, some of these things are telling us, hey, well, we might be going down further, but we have to wait and see where we find support. So step 3 is we're going to see where's that next pattern going to form now that we've broken out of this wedge. And for me, this is just my approach. We're in this long-term downtrend on Litecoin. I would not be surprised, and I don't like expecting anything, but I certainly can anticipate based on recent data points, which is a continual pattern of these bear flags forming. I could kind of anticipate that we hit our target on the downside here and possibly form another flag, whether it looks like that, whether it looks like this, however it looks. That's kind of what I'm anticipating on the downside. So we can talk about this. So that's the pattern that we're kind of waiting for to form next, now that we broke the downside of the current trend that we've been in. And then from there, we're going to simply wait for that new pattern to break on the upside or downside. It's just the same story being told over and over again. Now, these simple 4 steps are basically how we've anticipated like these dips pretty good on this channel. I'm not like trying to pat myself on the back, but we've done it pretty good. We've hit our targets a lot in terms of these wedges breaking to the downside. And listen, we did the same thing even when we could have been doing a technical analysis video like right here, and we were setting targets for the downside, but we were also doing it for the upside. So it's not like we predicted anything, but we were just ready for it. And that's probably the best thing that we can do for ourselves, is just be ready while we're waiting. And it's all about that waiting. So right now you can see Litecoin in, basically most recently breaking out of the bottom of this wedge again. And what we do is we measure the distance of this wedge, and we kind of get an idea of what our target is. So, the other day it was around $48. Since, we're kind of right at the bottom of this wedge, we're up a little bit from where the bottom was the other day. Our target right now is around $50 for Litecoin. So I want to just say that doesn't necessarily mean we'll go to $50 and just get a hard bounce off of it, right? We might, and even if we do, we could go further down, and then that's where we might find support in a new wedge, right? So it could be something like that. But we have to be patient, and we have to wait for these patterns to form before we can start getting comfortable. And that's just my approach to it. I don't like accumulating in areas like where we are right now at all. I just don't. I don't feel comfortable with it. So like we just broke the bottom of this wedge. Now isn't a time where I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to accumulate while we're at $57. I like accumulating in areas like this, right? Where we've already come down and we found support. We got a swing high, and then we came back down and basically probably found support right around a 786 on the Fibonacci. I'm not sure what it is, but we can go look. But in that time frame, when doing some technical analysis, I would have been more comfortable buying that dip right there. And yes, you can see. I'll zoom in on the chart here. You can see this swing high to low. We found support right above the 786 in our sweet spot. That's 618 to 786 channel. Boom. That's where I like to accumulate. That's where I like to comfortably buy Litecoin, buy Bitcoin, buy whatever I'm buying when I buy it. So for now, what I'm doing is I'm waiting, and I'm not trying to talk I'm not trying to talk too much in this video, but I'm trying to walk you through how I approach the market. So real time, where we are right now, around $57. We just broke out of this wedge. I'm sitting back on the sidelines, and I'm kind of trying to see, well, where are we going to get support, right? Let me look at support and resistance. So really, I'm in step 2 right now. I'm in step 2, which is I'm waiting for support and resistance. I want to see if we approach the bottom of this wedge on the downside and see resistance there. Because if we see resistance there, we're going to come back down, and then we might start seeing some support down here at 50 or below. So it's all about patience. And then when we get into that next pattern, whatever it is, then I can start analyzing, well, all right, am I ready to accumulate comfortably? What am I doing at these areas? So what's important to note for me, this is my approach. I'm not a trader, right? I'm not trading Litecoin. So this approach might not work for traders, probably won't work for traders. But since I'm long, my whole goal personally is to always be comfortable as I'm accumulating, always buying the dips, right? And just having a healthy mental mindset when accumulating. That's it. That's all it is for Litecoin. I can do technical analysis on other stuff that I trade, but everybody knows I really don't want to talk about trades that I do in other altcoins. But this is really simply my approach in accumulating, and I think it's worked really well for me. And this is basically a really simplified version of really all the technical analysis videos you guys see on this channel. So that's kind of where we are for Litecoin. So really, to put it simply, right now on the 4-hour chart for Litecoin, obviously we broke the bottom of this trend line. So right now I'm really, I don't think we're going to be trading sideways for much longer at around $57. I really think there will be a move, whether it be to a resistance area here, very interesting to see if we can break it, or a drop, right? A drop to hit our targets that we have from this wedge. And obviously it's not perfect right now, but our target of around $50. So after the breakouts. So that's what I'm looking at for right now. And then from there, we just kind of just keep doing technical analysis. We keep evaluating where we see support resistance. We see what patterns form next, and then we track those patterns closely. And then, as always, we don't spend more money than we can afford to lose. That's probably one of the most important things. So those are my thoughts today for Litecoin technical analysis. Really wanted to kind of tie it all together, give you guys a sense of how I approach the markets, and this is definitely the simplified version of that. So thanks for coming by today. Let me know your thoughts. Are you accumulating at these levels? They seem like pretty important levels right now, and I'm curious to see if you're accumulating. Where do you think we're going to go next? Time will tell. And yes, we all have to be very patient. So thank you so much for coming by. I will see you all in the next video, and God bless.